promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
I'm going to step off the limb now.
So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
People will return to the people, and so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You are men.
Obviously, it would be a very serious matter for the United States if any country were to attempt to funnel funds to one of our political parties for any reason whatever.
Regularly takes in money from foreign sources. That's a threat to our democracy.
Also potentially troublesome development for Hillary Clinton.
Clinton Foundation accepted millions of dollars from 7 foreign governments when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State.
Saying that foreign nations have donated to the Clinton Foundation. Algeria was lobbying the U.S. at the time.
I read the news today. Oh boy, taking donations from foreign countries, including the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Oman. John, what in God's name are the Clintons doing?
Encountering some new ethical concerns tonight.
Taking money again from foreign governments.
I think many people were shocked.
The appearances are awkward at best.
This is a potentially catastrophic move for Hillary Clinton.
Millions of dollars from foreign governments. This isn't just the appearance of a conflict of interest. It's a real conflict of interest.
That's not how our democracy operates.
You always told the truth?
I've always tried to. We've seen rage and violence directed at American embassies over an awful internet video.
The next day, within 24 hours, you had a conversation with the Egyptian Prime Minister. You told him this: we know the attack in Libya had nothing to do with the film. It was a planned attack, not a protest.
She lied to me. She told me it was the fault of the video.
And to think that she has a shot at being our president, crooked Hillary Clinton. We can't let it happen. If I win, believe me, make America great again, and it's going to be greater than ever before. We have a chance to be greater than ever before.
Greetings from Washington. I want to thank all of you for your work to root out corruption that weakens economic development, feeds black markets and organized crime, and undermines the promise of democracy.
I believe in the oldest adage in American politics, which is follow the money.
A new report today claims that the Clinton Foundation gives about 10% of its money that it raises to actual charities.
Enormous amounts of money have flowed to the Clintons from foreign governments, foreign financiers, and businesses.
The Clinton Foundation dropping its self-imposed ban on collecting funds from foreign governments and entities.
You have a foreign corporation or a foreign government that wants something from the State Department while Hillary Clinton is Secretary of State. They will make a large payment to the Clinton Foundation. That will be followed by favorable action on their behalf. They've created a model for massive self-enrichment that allows you to go into so-called public service, but get extremely rich at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I got to pay our bills.
Before we had to worry about money from Wall Street and big labor. Now we have to worry about it coming from around the world and infecting our politics. With the Clintons, nothing is sacred. Everything is for sale. But we are the ones who are paying the price. Maybe, just maybe, the American people are tired of being sold out.
Tell all the other curs the law's coming! You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
The United States.
This is America, Jack.
We're Americans.
This is the power of suggestion.
The ultimate gala spectacle. You want to hear the truth? Yeah, I want to hear the truth. The truth is,
its cruel symptoms can strike anyone.
That's all I'm going to say at this time.
What creates an extraordinary life is an extraordinary mindset.
Now that I got your attention,
Listen to this.
Let's go!
We're now in the approach phase. Everything looking good.
the Wayne Dupree Program.
Yeah, we're here. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to The Wayne Dupree Show. I'm your host, Wayne Dupree, and we are live on Right Side Broadcasting Network on a Saturday night. We are here with the team. We're going to have some more of the team calling in. We're going to have a special guest joining us tonight. This is a guest that you don't want to miss. If you have missed anything else throughout the whole week, you know, if you have missed Sean Hannity calling in last night, or our new favorite German caller calling in, well, you don't want to miss tonight. Tonight we have a special guest in author. She's an author, and she's also been part of the Clinton family for a while. And you'll hear more about that a little bit later on in the program. But I want to bring in my team from the West Coast. The lady that is going to make me bake Alaska next week. Miss Cambry Nelson. What's up, Cam?
Yeah, that's I'm going to have to figure out how to make that one. Did you hear me bark? I got mad.
Was that you?
No, I'm excited. I'm gonna try to bake you the best food I can, but I'm excited to be on tonight. Dolly Kyle. Woo, she's got a story, y'all. She's got a story.
She got a huge story. She got a lot of secrets. that she don't mind telling. She don't mind telling.
She doesn't at all. That's what I love about her. She's so frank.
Every time. Oh, and guess what? We're gonna open up the phone lines for you. We're gonna let you ask her questions. If you got questions about Bill and Hillary Clinton, when did she meet Bill Clinton again? How old was she? Not 13, 12?
She was 11, actually. She was 11 years old, okay. And Bill was 13 years old.
Bill was 13, okay. All right. So she's known him ever since he was 13, a little pudgy 13-year-old brat. And yeah, it's 202-470-6738. 202-470-6738. We also have the Godfather of War Radio, Mr. Hutch Bailey Jr. What's up, Hutch?
Good evening, Mr. Dupree, Cam, and Cole, and a special good evening to the RSBN chat room moderator.
Yeah, we can't forget the chat room moderator. We can't because she's part of the family, literally. So, and we also have the Millennium Falcon. It's catching on. It's catching on. I mean, I don't know what else to call him. I really don't. Mr. Cole McNeely.
That's one option. What you just said there. I like
catching
that
on. Or Millennium Falcon.
No. The other option of calling me being my name.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I do like.
That's not this type of show.
I do. I will say I like the Millennial Falcon, and I didn't like it at first, and I resisted, but I think I'm gonna let it come in. I think I like it.
All right. You know. And ladies and gentlemen, we have our Right Side Broadcasting Network family listening in on the website too. Go to rsbn.tv, and believe me, they have some beautiful people in there. In one of the most interactive streaming chat room bulletin boards that I've seen in a while. Or you can go to YouTube and watch us on YouTube on the Right Side Broadcasting Network, or you can listen to us radio style while you surf and turf. You can listen to it. You can go to Spreaker.com, type in Wayne Dupree Show, or you can just go to our flagship radio station. We are America Radio. .com. How do you say it, Cole?
We are America Radio.
I like that.
.com.
I'd slur that. I'd be like, we are.
That's smooth.
Thank you.
We are.
That's what I think. I got it down to almost like a science because I always come on the show. I go, hey, blah blah, Cole McNeely show, and then I go, and you're listening to We Are America Radio, your number one news source for political talk anywhere. We are war. I think it just sounds good. I like it.
It does sound good. Listen, I have to tell y'all a secret. You know our little German call last night? I think I've listened to that like 20 times.
It is funny. With the Dumbo ears.
Yeah. Don't worry about Merkel. We're going to take care of her. I'm like, oh my God. That was funny. And yeah, well, that was funny what you just said. And he was just straight. I was like, well, okay, well, thanks for laughing. I appreciate it. Now, I mean, we had some great calls last night. And I know we're going to have some great calls tonight. And as a matter of fact, we're going to start it off with 586. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Robert Craig, and I'm from Macomb County, Michigan.
Hi, Robert.
And I have 3 questions. How can people attend the RNC convention in Cleveland? And then what do you think if Trump chose like Mike Flynn as his VP? And how does Trump reach out to like inner city blacks like in Detroit, Baltimore, Chicago?
Well, Robert, thank you for your call. I'll take the Mike Pence one as VP. I'll throw the inner city one to Wayne because he would probably be for black voters. But I would say for Mike Pence for vice president, I think that would be
racist? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
No, it's that I'm a white guy from southern Indiana, Wayne. I don't know what it's like to be a black man. We talked about this yesterday.
I know. I don't know what it's like to be white either. Go ahead.
But I would say on Mike Pence is a guy who in Indiana is, I'd say, fairly respected. He has a fairly good track record. And I think it would be good for Trump. I think he has a good record to run on, Mike Pence. But at the same time, Indiana is not a state that is up for grabs. I mean, it's been a red state. It voted blue one time in 2008 for Obama, then went pretty resoundingly red for Romney in 2012. But I think it would be a good choice on the merit side of it. I'm not sure on the electorate side of it that Mike Pence brings a lot more people to the table.
And let's see, that was one of your questions, but you had, it's gone. Okay. What was the first one?
One of his questions was, how does Trump breach inner city?
No. Before that one.
Before that.
Yeah. Y'all in trouble.
They were asking how people can attend the RNC convention.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
right.
Okay. You can. I mean, it's in Cleveland, Ohio, so you aren't really that far away from it. It's probably a couple hour drive from it, but you can drive down. I mean, you can get there.
Go to rnc.com.
Do you think that's what he was talking about?
I'm
the
saying
website?
they probably have they have instructions on how to attend there.
I agree.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll get me off there. And for the inner city,
get inside. It's over almost like $1,000 just to get a guest pass if you can get inside and if it's not already full.
And for the inner city thing, Newt Gingrich, I think, came up with the best answer I heard yesterday morning when Newt Gingrich said that the RNC has got to go into these cities, and they've got to talk, and they've got to go in there with proven results. They have to listen and show minorities that listen. You can't vote for Hillary because everything's going to continue the way that you're seeing it. But we do have a plan. Show them the plan. Hopefully they'll have some examples of success, some proven success. And that should pick off a few. It won't pick off everybody. And anybody that thinks that the huge electorate of the black community is going to switch overnight, it's not going to happen. Okay, it's not going to happen. But you can pick off some every so often. You can do that. And I think that's probably the smartest thing to do. Carla, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Ray German from Colonial Beach, Virginia.
Ray from Virginia. How you doing, Ray?
I'm well. Mr. Dupree, how are you?
I'm fine. What's going on with yourself?
fine. I was calling about a Breitbart article I was reading where our beloved president wants to federalize the local police force. That has me concerned.
Thank you for your call, Ray. Let me tell you something about Barack Obama. He's a child. And I know some of his supporters will get mad at me for calling names. I really don't care. But Barack Obama's a child. Barack Obama does not understand what it means to govern. He's been trying to be a king for a long time. He's been trying to be a ruler for a long time. And when it comes to putting out these ideas of taking people's guns and forcing different things on the American people, he forgets that the American people they do have a will, and the will is they will not be enslaved by anybody. They won't be chained by anybody. And the majority of Americans will not be told by Barack Obama what to do. That's just the American spirit. We'll work with you, but we aren't going to be told what to do. Because usually when you try to tell America what to do, I mean, the British tried that. And that was a huge loss that they took on the way back home. You're not going to tell America. You aren't going to tell America what to do. You can talk to us, but if you think that you're going to just roll some federal police, we got too many people out there that that love the Second Amendment. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Go.
He started this actually in 2015 when he came out with Task Force on the 21st Century Policing Report. He started to move this last year. He put it into the federal. What he does, he wants to federalize police training because of all. I mean, there's lawsuits that are going against that right now.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I mean, what he did is he's basically, he's basically trying to put these rules in place. It's almost like slow motion. I mean, he's wanting a national police system, and what he's trying to do is he's trying to make it similar, because he already started something similar on a federal run. That's what he wants. Is he wants the police force to be federally run, just like he's using our healthcare system with the Obamacare. That's federally run system. So that's what he's trying to do. But he put it into this report last year in 2015 as a recommendation. But like you said, I don't think it's going to happen. But the one thing that I've noticed is President Obama doesn't really take into consideration what the people want. Just like here in California.
No, they don't care.
They didn't take it. They say, they're saying we're not going to take away your guns, but they're slowly starting to take away they're slowly starting to put these gun laws in California. And before you know it, they're going to be taking away our guns. I mean, it's like we're already starting to see them do it without actually taking them away. But is he going to be trigger happy, and is he going to use an executive order to do something? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with this guy. I really don't know.
The sad part about it is it's much older than 2015. Barack Obama, from his first year in office, started delivering equipment to police departments, primarily with leftist mayors, went around the states. I know people in the police department in Pittsburgh told me that packages show up all the time, ammunition, equipment, vehicles, helmets. I mean, they are bribing basically the police departments around this country and loading them up with equipment that has strings attached. And the most dangerous part about it is if you go to a police department is full of alpha males, and if you put a bunch of weapons in the arms room, one of those guys is going to figure out a reason to get that weapon out and take it out on the street, because that's just the nature of the way they are. And it's a very dangerous situation. If you look back on the Boston bombing, all of a sudden you had 30, 40 different agencies all working in tandem. That was the end result of this federalization. I mean, it's frequencies and radios and everything else. It's a real serious point.
Right.
And caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's McKinley, and I'm from Florida.
Hi, McKinley.
First off, I just wanted to say that yesterday, I loved Cole's rant on
YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube.
Okay.
Well, thank you, McKinley.
Well, look what we got here.
But secondly, I just want to say that, like, I understand there's problems with police brutality, and but the focus of Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter movement, should be more focused on interracial crime if they really want to see problems being resolved.
Cole?
Yeah, McKinley, I think you're absolutely right, and thank you for your call. I think that the Black Lives Matter movement misses the fact that there are this inner city crime is really what is killing black people. If we want to talk about black lives, we don't want to talk about all the kids getting shot in Chicago, right? It's an uncomfortable topic to talk about, right? And my point about the white privilege thing is, Hutch or me or Cam, we start talking about that thing and we say, hey, look in the mirror, look at what's happening in Chicago, look at what is happening with these gangs, and understand that is within your own race. You can't point at white people and blame white people for that. And we say that, and all of a sudden, we're not allowed to comment on the race issue. But the point is that is the real issue, in my opinion, from stats, all kinds of things. I think 4% of people who are killed are in the black community are killed by cops. That means 96% are by other people, and I believe about 90% of those are other black people. So, I wish that they would look in the mirror and recognize that this is a community issue as well as an issue with gangs and all kinds of gang violence. I mean, that's huge. And there is these economic policies that the left put in place that traps these kids in because they don't encourage growth, they don't encourage job growth, and they don't have safety. And they look to the gangs and their older brothers, friends, whatever it may be, as their safety. And my point is, you can't put these policies in place and keep blaming white people because nothing's going to get solved. Caller, what is your name? Where are you from?
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing, Mark?
Hi, this is Mark from New Jersey.
Yep. What do you want to talk about tonight, Mark, real quick?
I wanted to real quick go back a little bit about the Comey recommendation and hearings.
Yeah.
And now Congress has asked the FBI to investigate into perjury charges. And everybody wanted Comey's head on a stick. I took a little heat on the chat about it, but they're a pretty good bunch. They weren't too rough on me. And, yeah. Oops, I've got to turn this down. I got that.
What do you think is going to happen with, or is anything going to happen with this inquiry about the perjury, possible perjury?
The perjury looks like a really good case. And the only other thing I wanted to say was that I do think the DOJ, the IRS, the NSA, the EPA, and even the Homeland Security are all corrupt, even criminal. I do not think the FBI is corrupt and criminal. And I hope everybody gives Comey a chance for the rest of this case because I think he's a straight shooter. That's my opinion, and I'll probably take more heat over it.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Why, yes, you will. The thing about Comey is Comey has a proven record of protecting the Clintons. This isn't the first time.
I've been seeing it lately.
If you look back at the Sandy Berger case, and there's several other ones, all these people are connected. They've been around each other for years, and that's as far as I want to take it because I don't have my facts, but I read it, and it's very compelling.
I've been seeing that lately. Go ahead, Cam.
One of the things that people are really starting to crack down on this. I mean, just recently, I think it came out, today's the 9th, yesterday, a federal judge from the State Department came out yesterday, and he said that, he said that the officials are going to, if they have to work weekends, they've got to work weekends. But he wants all of Hillary Clinton's documents released.
Yeah, and that's on a case with BAE.
Right.
A military contractor from England that actually lied to the court. And I mean, they were doing some foreign arms trafficking, and Hillary Clinton's in the middle of that. I mean, this isn't going to end.
Right. It's not going to end. I mean, for him to come out and say that, hey, you're going to have to work weekends until you give us all, because they were due, October of last year, I believe, and they still haven't released them. So I think people are cracking down. We're also seeing now that what the FBI has uncovered through this last week with Comey, that basically the whole United States government is wrapped up into the Clinton Foundation and through her servers. It's just going to get worse and worse. But we hear this talk all the time of what they're going to do to the Clintons and what they found. But are they really going to crack down and actually do something about it this time? That's my biggest concern. Is it going to be all talk and no action? Or are they going to actually freaking take these people down?
I will say this about Comey real quick, and I'll let you go, Wayne. But I think Comey's a straight shooter, and I understand how he came to his conclusion. I disagree with some of the things he said, and I think he was wrong on some things. But I will say one thing that the FBI completely mishandled, and I think that Comey should acknowledge this, is that they allowed her lawyers to go in and determine what was going to be turned over to the government, and then deleted the ones that they said didn't deserve to be turned over, and then they erased their technology clean so it could not be recovered. That was the most questionable part of the entire thing for me, is how does the FBI allow that to happen when an investigation is going on? Because that is the most blatantly obvious way that she could have covered anything up.
I'm telling you, first thing I see when I look at Hillary Clinton is an ugly woman. But then the next thing I see is a criminal. She's a criminal. She is a straight up criminal. And she has been in the game for a long time. And
question for you, Wayne.
Huh?
Why in God's green earth would the FBI sit down and have a conversation with Hillary Clinton and question her, and they never put her under oath?
Not oath, and didn't record it.
Insane.
And then, well, you know, no charges. A couple days later, something ain't right, man. But I think I saw Hutch write down something. Something sinister. Yeah, no, I agree.
It just feels that way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
I mean, this is way back 2004 when Comey did this with Berger. I mean, these people are allowed to get away with things that no one else on the face of the earth would be able to get away with. And it just makes you wonder, you know, this Clinton Foundation, what Cam said the other night, I looked into that a little bit too. And this Clinton Foundation,
watch yourself. Be safe. Be safe when you do it.
They were passing, they must have been passing out money, because there's a whole lot of other people. And think about how brilliant that would be. If you were Hillary Clinton, and actually Bill Clinton, and you're running this mob family, what a better idea than to pass out $50,000 to every member of Congress that could get you.
Sounds like a mob thing, huh? Laundry.
That's why they call me the Godfather.
What's it called again? A laundry? Laundry? When you wash money? What, launder.
Money laundering.
Yeah, front. Yeah, maybe the Clinton Foundation is a front. Yeah, I said it. Come and get me. Maybe the Clinton Foundation is a front to wash money. I don't know. Hey, caller, turn down your radio real quick.
I did.
How you doing?
Good.
What's your name?
Jane.
Jane, where are you calling from? Nebraska. You know, Jane, I've been to 37 states. Been to a couple countries. I've never been to Nebraska. How is it in Nebraska right now?
Right now it's hot.
In Nebraska?
Yeah, it's about 95, 96.
Wow. Okay. All right. What do you want to talk about real quick?
Well, they just commented on there about the Saturday Hillary FBI thing. There was another person there, another woman there. Hillary was not there, so she couldn't be taped and she couldn't be videoed.
You said Hillary wasn't there?
Not at her mansion, no. Some other woman was, because they saw another woman leave the facility after the Secret Service left. So there should be Secret Service people that could tell where she was at that day. But I don't believe they, videotaped her or recorded her or had her sign a oath, because she was not there.
Wasn't that her home?
Yeah.
That they went to her house. Yeah, they went to Hillary's house.
Yeah, they went to Hillary's house. But I don't think she was home, because otherwise she'd have to sign an oath. They were asking her questions. And they couldn't videotape her.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for your call, Jane. I mean, I look at it and it's feasible that maybe she wasn't there,
I haven't heard that Hillary Clinton wasn't there. I heard that they questioned her for 3 hours. They just didn't put her under oath, nor did they record it. But I've never heard anything in the media saying that Hillary Clinton wasn't there to answer.
But do you think the liberal media would say anything, though?
I walked on you, Wayne. Sorry.
Do you think the liberal media would say anything about if Hillary wasn't there?
I think Comey would have.
No,
Comey would have.
Comey took the fifth in front of Congress. Really. He just didn't say it.
The thing that got me about Comey is he was asked, did Hillary lie? And he said no.
He sure did. Well, I'm not experienced enough to say that, or whatever, man. You called her a liar just a couple days before.
In other words, yeah.
Trey Gowdy is the one that
oh yeah,
basically did everything. He is the one that is responsible for everything going forth. He pressed him. He knew what buttons to push. He called him out on it, and then because they're both attorneys, so they both know exactly what to talk about. So
he was smooth.
If it wasn't for Trey Gowdy, he was smooth.
He set him
confident. You know what's crazy, guys? It's almost like everybody sitting there asking Comey questions already knew what to ask him because they already knew what the answers were.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for Trey Gowdy to point at his hairdo and say, you know why they call this a DA, right?
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Wayne Dupree Show here on Saturday afternoon. We're getting ready to bring in our guest. We're getting ready to call her up and get her on the show. But we want you to do something before we bring her on the show. We want you to share the show. Make sure that you're sharing the show on Twitter and Facebook. That we're broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. You're in the chat room. Make sure that there's a like button up there, and sometimes during the show we'll tell you to hit the like button. We want to know if you're happy with the show. If you're not happy with the show, let us know. But if you are happy with the show, like it so that when the show is over, we can look at it and be like, okay, we did good tonight. We can kind of measure it off of the like. So don't forget to share the show. They're on YouTube and on Spreaker. There's some social media buttons for Facebook and Twitter. Let's grow our family. Let's grow our family tonight. In a few minutes, we're going to call Dolly Kyle. Dolly Kyle, again, is somebody that you and your family are going to want to listen to. She is a lady that knows the Clintons from way, way, way back. Way back. And she's going to be taking calls. So get your questions ready. 202-470-6738. 202-470-6738. She is coming up, and the many questions, there is no question that she won't answer. Okay, about Billy and Hillary Clinton. There is no question that she won't answer about that, because 9 and 3/4 out of 10, she knows it. And she knows some secrets. Ain't that right, Cam? Yep. Yep, Wayne.
Yep, that's right. I'm
Unmute.
She knows the secrets. I mean, I just tell y'all. I mean, y'all. I have to promote her book. Y'all have to get her book. Hillary
Get her
America.
book. That's right.
Get it in Kindle.
Hey, Joe. Hold on, Cam. Hey, Joe. Put that book up on the screen for us too, so that everybody can see the book that they need to go out and get. This is where Dolly Kyle is going to be talking from, actually. But go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, her book, I honestly, when I first started, I've read it 4 times. When I first started reading it, it was so much to take in, you guys, because this is talking about the personal life, conversations, phone conversations, going to dinner, very intimate moments, seeing the realness of Bill Clinton, then also seeing him switch into the type of guy who does not care about anything other than furthering his mission. But the inside of this book will just actually blow your mind. But not only that, all of the corruption within the Clintons. There are pages and pages and pages and pages of information that we've never even heard of. So when she comes on, you guys have got to share the show, because this is going to be an insight to the Clintons, and not only that, Hillary Clinton, in a way that you guys have never, ever heard in your entire life, ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, you got to get used to hearing Bill Clinton called Billy.
Right.
Because that's how she's going to refer to him.
Man, I mean, she is really okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take another phone call, and then we'll catch up with Dolly real quick. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from St. Louis.
What's your name?
Kelly.
Who?
Kelly.
Hi, Kelly from St. Louis. How are you?
I'm good.
So, what do you want to talk about, Kelly, real quick?
Well, we were talking to, I was wanting to talk about Bill Clinton and his former girlfriend. She was answering questions.
Yeah, we haven't brought her on yet. But you can call back. You can call back, though, Kelly.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Great.
All right, so with that, let me see if I can call up Miss Kyle.
While he's doing that, I got good news, guys. Kyle is going to be at the RNC convention.
Is she really?
Dolly is. Yes, she is.
Okay, so she can sit down with us at the table.
I'm excited about that. I got the text yesterday.
They're beautiful.
This phone is monitored. Please begin speaking to identify yourself, and if no one answers, please leave your phone number and we'll call you right back. Thank you.
Hi, Miss Kyle. This is Wayne Dupree. We are bringing you on the radio. Are you there?
This is when you kick the music in.
I guess I am.
I'll shoot her a message.
Acapella.
Well, this will be a good call, ladies and gentlemen, when it finally gets established, and I'm sure it will in just a few minutes.
I remember I was on the hold at a dentist during a dentist call, and they were playing Earth, Wind, and Fire. I was like, really?
Oh.
Yeah, just hang
get that
tight.
elevator music.
I'm sending her a message. Definitely, she's one person that is making sure that she's secure for people that call her homes, because it's a very heightened situation that she's in right now, giving information into their personal lives that most people have never, dove into.
And if you want to find her, you can find her book on Amazon.com as well. And that's probably the best way to do it. That's where I got mine at, and I've dug into it a little bit. It seems like a pretty good book. It's interesting. It's extremely interesting and gives you an insight into the Clintons we haven't really seen before. I mean, she has a perspective that no one else has. I mean, knowing Billy, but from such a young age. I mean, that's something, and knowing him all these years is something that no one else has. It's incredible.
We have a caller on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Christopher, Hawaii.
What's your name?
Christopher.
Hey, Christopher. How are you?
Good.
You know, I was stationed out in Hawaii. What island are you on?
Oahu.
That's where I was stationed. I was stationed at Hickam Air Force Base, Hawaii, for 4 years. Not sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I know y'all aren't going through a heat wave right now, are you? So, what do you want to talk about, real quick, Christopher?
The Clinton Foundation.
Oh, what do you know about the Clinton Foundation?
There's these people online investigating Clinton Foundation, like the ties, Trump companies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting to look into it.
So, do you think Hillary Clinton is guilty of some crime with the Clinton Foundation?
She has so many ties to all sorts of stuff. I don't know.
I know.
But it is suspicious.
She's a bad. What do you think about her?
I don't know. I think she's suspicious.
Suspicious.
Something big to hide.
How old are you?
So what are we gonna do down in Hawaii? Do you think we can flip it from a blue state? Because Governor Ige, which half the people don't like. Do you think we can flip Hawaii to? Do you think we can flip it from blue to red?
I doubt
Most
it.
people like Bernie. I know. Man, I had hope, guys. Well, thank you so much for your call, sister.
Thanks.
Kona.
I was hoping, man. I'm hoping, since everybody's voting Bernie there, I'm wondering what the thoughts are, but I haven't called my family yet to find out, because we're keeping politics a no. We just don't talk politics in Hawaii whatsoever. But Dolly Kyle said call back, and we are ready.
I miss Hawaii. I do.
I miss my family. I'm dying. My nephews could go, Auntie, when you coming home? When you going to come see us in Hawaii? And it breaks my heart.
I really miss Hawaii.
Let's go, Wayne.
Okay, I'm ready. Those trade winds.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, guess who I have on the line? That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an author, a friend of the show, and she's here tonight. And get ready to sit back, take notes if you want to. You can call, we'll be taking calls a little bit later for Miss Kyle. But ladies and gentlemen, our family member, Miss Dolly Kyle. What's up?
Oh, I am just having such a wonderful day. Just got out of the pool and
look at you.
I'm ready to talk and tell, and I'm actually feeling a little bit of pressure tonight.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I got so many emails and texts and messages and calls after I was on your shows twice before. Now everybody's saying, "Oh, I want you to be so funny. Oh, I want you to tell this. I want you to tell that." It's like, okay, have we got 5 hours? Because people are wanting a lot.
Well, I tell you what. Let me introduce the panel. You already know Cambry Nelson.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And if you feel any pressure tonight, you need to take it out on anybody. You've got 3 men available.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a better offer than I usually have.
Oh, I love this lady.
Oh my Lord! And then we also had Mr. Hutch Bailey Jr. on the line.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you doing this evening?
I'm just doing great. Oh, I love the way you say ma'am. Where are you from?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Well, you faked me out. Okay.
I've been all over the place, though.
All right.
And then Dolly, we also have our Millennium Falcon here, Mr. Cole McNeely.
Dolly, I've been on with you before, and I just want to say, you make my day every time I talk to you. You make me feel better on the inside, and I'm being completely serious when I say that.
Well, that is so sweet. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So there we have the crew. We have our Right Side Broadcasting Network interactive chat. They are ready to ask some questions a little bit later. We have our Spreaker family over here getting ready to ask some questions, and we'll hold off on that for a little bit. But right now, we want to talk about you. We want to talk about you, and we want to introduce you to some of the people that don't know you, and briefly introduce you, and then after that, then we'll go into the lightning round with the panel, and then we're going to take some phone calls because a lot of people out there are going to want to ask you some questions about
That's
Bill
awesome,
and Hillary.
because I love answering questions,
There
and
you
there's
go.
no hard questions because I know the truth and I've got a good memory.
There we go. All right. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you met Bill Clinton and how you know of him.
I grew up in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I guess I'll go ahead and say Billy Clinton was born in Hope, Arkansas, which is a ways down the road, and he moved to Hot Springs in 1953 when his mother married Roger Clinton Sr., and they moved there. I met Billy when I was 11, and he was 12 going on 13. We were all playing golf out at the Belvedere Country Club, and Billy was with friends, and I was with friends, and the friends knew each other, and Billy and I were introduced, and it was the thunderbolt. I mean, we just instantly had this amazing attraction. And by the way, it was not one way. It was a very mutual thing. So that's when we met, and we became friends. And in high school, we became very close friends, and we dated, but we did not go steady, and we did not have sex. For those people who are wondering about that, let's just get that out of the way, okay? And then Billy and I went off to college. We graduated from Hot Springs High School in 1964. If you see pictures of me and you see pictures of Billy and you think, they could not possibly have graduated in the same class, that's because he's 2 years older than I am, because I skipped 2 grades.
Oh, wow.
And he also looks like he's been rode hard and put up wet for quite a while now. So, I don't want to have to answer anything about that. I just know the questions that people start asking, and so I just try to foreclose some of those. So I went to SMU to college, and Billy went to Georgetown in Washington, but we maintained our communication throughout those years. And I married in college, and subsequently had 3 children while I was in college and kept going to school. And Billy and I kept seeing each other and talking to each other. But in 1974, I got divorced, and Billy was still single. Hillary was single, and Billy moved back to Arkansas to teach law at the University of Arkansas Law School in Fayetteville. Okay, is that enough without a breath, or what else do you want? Let me keep going.
I love you so much, Dolly. You're the best.
Well, I don't know. We need to take a break for something, or
No.
Okay.
No, you're just kind of setting up the pretense of kind of like how you knew him. That's what a lot of people want to know. They just don't want.
Well,
some people
right.
don't know that you're on like the personal side of them, but go into. Just kind of go into, because of what everybody knows is the scandalous side of the Clintons, the untrustworthiness side of the Clintons. When do you think? Because I'm not going to give away details in your book, but when did you start noticing a difference? And because I know people have questions about Hillary, but when did you start noticing that difference in Billy, that he was really starting to go towards the dark side?
Well, I guess really the night that Billy introduced me to Hillary was the first time I saw something in him that really terribly upset me. I'll go back to this. It was the spring of 1974. Billy was teaching in the law school. He was running for Congress. I was newly divorced with 3 children under the age of 8. I was getting ready to move to Dallas to go to law school at SMU. And Billy and I were seeing each other, and yes, we were having an adult relationship, which includes sex by any definition that the FBI or the special counsel wants to ask. Okay? So let's get that out of the way. Billy,
you go, girl. You go,
What?
girl. I said, you go, girl.
Okay, so it was May 28th, 1974, and yes, I do have that good a memory. It was the night of the Democratic primary, and Billy, as I said, was in Fayetteville. He was running for Congress from the district up there in the northwest part of the state, which is very conservative Republican. He didn't have a chance of winning, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he was going to fly to Little Rock to do a statewide television interview, because back then in Little Rock, actually, I guess still now in Little Rock, we don't have statewide coverage very much. So he called me and he asked me if I would pick him up. Now, mind you, this is a person I've known for 15 years, and I knew that he was living with a woman named Hillary at Yale, because law school. He called me and told me that in the fall of 72. Like, he was moving in with this woman. You know, Billy's a bit of a moocher. I think probably people have figured it out by now, but Hillary had a place to live, and he moved in with her, and that's the way it sounded to me. So here we are, 1974. He's still somewhat seeing Hillary. He calls me and asks me to pick him up at the airport. I go pick him up, and this dowdy-looking middle-aged woman got off the plane with him, and they came up closer and closer, and I saw she really wasn't middle-aged. She was probably our age, but she was very strange-looking. And Billy said, "Dolly, this is Hillary. Hillary, Dolly."
Wow.
And I resisted the urge to laugh, because I thought, okay, there's no way that he lived with this person. I mean, she was lumpy. Her dress was a horrible brown bag, and it came down below her knees, but you could see this. I'm sorry, black hairy legs. I mean, I never saw a woman with hairy legs before. I'm sorry. Call me provincial, right? Women shaved their legs, and then I noticed that she smelled really, really bad. And her hair was obviously greasy, filthy, nasty. She looked like she had been maybe the mechanic on the plane or something, and she smelled like it was so bad. And then my thought was, oh dear, I have cloth seats in my car. Do you remember the episode from Seinfeld?
Yeah.
When the valet parker, you know what I'm talking about. So I thought, oh my God, whoever this woman is, she's going to ruin my car. And but I didn't say anything, because after all, I was raised in the South. You don't say anything nasty. You just smile. And I stuck my hand out to shake hands with her, and she just glared at me, didn't say anything. Anyway, I did not think it was Hillary, okay? Now that I promise you. Had no clue. I thought it was some kind of weird joke Billy was doing.
Now, Dolly, this brings... I couldn't have asked for a better setup to my question.
Okay.
We have and I've asked you this before, but we have an entirely new audience, so the people at Spreaker, just bear with me here. I asked you last time you were on that you're obviously a very beautiful woman, and a lot of the other women that have come forward with affairs and accusations with Billy are also beautiful. And I always wondered, how did he end up with Hillary's not really one of the beautiful people like you just described?
No, she's ugly, actually.
And I asked you before, why do you think that Bill Clinton hooked up with Hillary? And you had a compelling answer concerning his past and his family.
Yes, and I did put this in the book, and I do have to say that I was a psychology major before I became a lawyer. I'm not saying that I have, a PhD, but I did have 39 hours of psychology, plus I'm, actually a pretty smart cookie, as I said before. So I dug into this myself because it didn't make any sense to me. It really didn't. And what I realized, looking at Billy's history, was that he was raised by his grandmother, his mother's mother, in Hope, Arkansas, from the time he was an infant until he was about 4 years old, because his mother left him with his grandparents for her to go to New Orleans and wherever else in Louisiana she went to go to nursing school and become a nurse anesthetist. So Billy had this wonderful grandfather. Now, I didn't know either of the grandparents, okay? I did know his mother, but I didn't know his grandparents. And the grandfather had a great reputation, wonderful guy. Everybody loved him. He even extended credit to the black people in town from the little store he owned, which was sort of unheard of back then. But his grandmother was described to me as the meanest woman in southwest Arkansas. And I had the great aha moment when I heard that, because what Billy did was not marry his mother, as most guys do in that sense, because Virginia was just a fun-loving floozy, I will tell you. And, well, Hillary's not like that. And but the grandmother was mean and controlling, and Hillary is mean and controlling. So to Billy's little untreated psyche back in 1972 when he met her, there was a thing that goes off in the medulla oblongata or something in your head, and you're just drawn to something that is a familiar spirit. Not a happy spirit, but certainly this was a familiar spirit. So that's what I figured. He married his grandmother, and whoa.
That's a big whoa. That's a big whoa.
But I was going to tell you when he started turning, because Cam asked me that.
Yes, please.
Okay, so the night that night we were in the car, we went down to the station, and after the station we were going to go over to Bill Fulbright's headquarters. Now, for those people who don't know Arkansas history intimately, Bill Fulbright was an Arkansas senator. At this point, he had been senator for 30 years. He was running for re-election. This was the Democrat primary, which is generally tantamount to winning back then. And we were going to go see him after the television interview because Bill Fulbright was not only Billy Clinton's mentor, he was as close to a wonderful father figure as anyone Billy ever had. When Billy went to Georgetown, Senator Fulbright, gave him a job. Fulbright was head of the Foreign Relations Committee. He took Billy around. He introduced him to everyone. He did everything like that. When Billy wanted the Rhodes Scholarship to go to Oxford, Fulbright paved the way for that. He got him into Yale Law School, which he could have done on his own, but Fulbright helped. And then when Billy started running for Congress, it was Fulbright who introduced him to the power money people around who were funding this very campaign. Okay, so that takes us up to this night where Bill Fulbright has carried Billy Clinton for years. And we left the television station heading to Fulbright headquarters, and Billy says, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, we're going to Fulbright headquarters." And he said, "Well, did you not see the election returns?" And then I realized that horrible-smelling and horrible-looking woman at the station had been looking at the election returns and was trying to get Billy to pay attention to it and all that, but I didn't pay any attention to her. I was just determined I wasn't going to go off and leave her no matter how bad she smelled. And so Billy says, "Didn't you see the election returns?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, Fulbright's losing." I said, "Well, so what? I mean, he's your mentor. He's everything. We're going to go and have pictures taken." He said, I don't want to be seen with a loser.
Whoa. With Fulbright? Really?
Yeah, that's what Billy said about Bill Fulbright, Senator Bill Fulbright, 30-year senator who had done everything in the world that he could do for Billy. That same Senator Fulbright helped my brother to get a presidential appointment to the Air Force Academy. My daddy had known him. You know what I'm saying? This was a man I cared about personally.
Right.
My sister had been going around with Senator Fulbright and his wife, and I was stunned and I was sickened. It actually sickened me in my stomach when Billy just spat out the words, "I don't want to be seen with a loser." And I said to him, Bill Fulbright might lose this election, but he will never be a loser. And I turned and went back to the airport. I dumped them out of my car. I never said another word to Billy for 2 years.
Wow. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Wayne Dupree Show here on the Right Side Broadcasting Network. We have a special guest, Miss Dolly Kyle, who is also an author, and she is here tonight to. In a few minutes, we're going to be opening up the phone lines so that you can ask her questions about her experience with Billy Clinton and the Ice Queen, Hillary Clinton. We have our co-hosts, Cambry Nelson, Hutch Bailey Jr., and Cole McNeely. Dolly, we know that you have the experience with Bill and Hillary Clinton. Hillary, as you know, she's running for president. Last time that we talked, we did not know that she was going to get off of the. We didn't know that the FBI investigation was going to be, that she was going to be cleared. When you saw Bill Clinton walk on the plane, or heard about him walking on the plane with Loretta Lynch, do you think Hillary told him to go on the plane, or do you think he decided he was going to mess things up and walk on the plane on his own? That was his own decision.
Well, I don't think she sent him an email asking him to do it.
Nice one. That's nice. That was nice.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know. I obviously don't know what happened to set that up. Somewhere I read that Billy waited 30 minutes for Lynch's plane to get in.
Does it sound like something he would do on his own or with direction from her?
Oh, he would do that on his own.
So he would mess up his wife's case or perception in the face of Americans just out of the blue.
First off, you have to realize, and when is it going to dawn on people, that the laws of America do not apply to Billy and Hillary. Okay? They don't believe that the laws apply to them, so this doesn't really matter. I mean, this is a guy who was a lawyer and had his bar license revoked for 5 years for perjury and suborning perjury, witness tampering, and obstruction of justice. Hillary is also a lawyer who couldn't get a second job because her boss in Washington wouldn't give her a letter of recommendation. Trust me, if that woman had not gotten on to Billy Clinton's coattails, she'd probably be working, well, I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to insult people in that sort of employment, but at any rate...
Hog farmer? Is that what you're talking about?
What?
Hog farmer? Pig farmer?
But here's the thing. Billy is conflicted about this whole thing with Hillary running anyway. The deal all along, from the very beginning of their marriage, such as it is, wouldn't you love to see what vows they gave? Anyway, from the very beginning, the plan was for Billy to become president and then Hillary to come right in behind him. And that didn't work out because of Barack Obama. And what's ironic about that is that he stole the election from them the same way Hillary stole it from Bernie Sanders. So I just, there's some irony going on here. But the problem there's two things. Billy would like her to be president, not because that was their deal, but because in some way it will help vindicate him and the impeachment, which so many people think was about sex in the Oval Office, because that's what the Clintons want them to believe, and it was nothing about sex in the Oval Office. It was about the chief executive officer of the United States attacking the judicial department by lying and suborning perjury and witness tampering and obstruction of justice. But people can't grasp that because the Clintons keep on about Monica Lewinsky and oral sex. Well, I'm sorry, folks. It's more than that. But the other thing is this. Billy, in the meantime, has been very happy with the life he's been leading up there in Chappaqua while Hillary lives in Washington. They don't even live in the same state, so he doesn't have to put up with her. And he also has had his buddy Jeffrey Epstein flying him around on the Lolita Express. He said he did that a few times. Jeffrey Epstein, of course, is the convicted pedophile. And Billy finally admitted he'd been maybe on 5 or 6 trips with him, and according to airplane logs, it was at least 26. And they go to Orgy Island, and where they've got, 12, 13, 14-year-old prostitute girls from France or wherever, and he's going to have to give that up and revert back to Air Force One, which compared to the Lolita Express is not his kind of plane anymore.
Right. Hey, Dolly, correct me if I'm wrong, but last time you were on the program, did you say that Billy might have gotten, not necessarily beat up, but, bruised up a bit by Hillary some in their relationship?
Yeah, and now, of course, I never saw her hit him with anything, but sure. I've heard credible reports, like first-degree hearsay, because right. I used to spend time in the little security building out beside the governor's mansion while I was waiting for Billy. I don't know if you've heard this, but he's frequently late.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a passive-aggressive tendency, of course, but at any rate, and it tells you how important he is, and you're not. But at any rate, I would sit in the building there and talk to the Arkansas State Troopers, and I would hear all these stories. And depending on whether they were just immediately mad at Hillary for something she had done that day, or if it's something a little farther back and they were laughing about it, I heard all these stories. So I have no reason not to believe it. And when people say they saw it or they heard it or whatever, I believe it because it fits in with the pattern of what I know.
Right. And Dolly, what did Bill refer to? I'm kind of blanking on it, but what did Bill refer to Hillary as? Didn't he have a nickname? Right? Yeah? Is that what I'm thinking?
Warden.
Yes.
A warden. Yeah. And so when I would, he would tell me, this was, of course, way before cell phones and things, and if I were supposed to meet him at the governor's mansion or something, he'd say, well, call Buddy Young and see if the warden's gone yet or something before you come in. Instead of calling the number straight into the governor's mansion, I'd call into the security office. And Buddy Young actually is the only one I remember by name. I'm sorry. The other troopers, they were nice guys, and most of them were relatively young, and they frankly were all pretty good looking, and they were a nice crew to visit with. But Buddy Young is the only one I knew by name, and we visited many times over many years. But the stories are consistent. Stories are very consistent.
How about let's even move to Chelsea. I remember last time you were talking about how well, actually there's 2 things at Chelsea that I wanted you to talk about.
I know where you're going. I'll take it.
Okay, go.
Okay. The first one you were going to ask me, or the second, was, is there any truth to the rumor that Webb Hubbell is Chelsea's father? And I do not believe there is, and I did address this in my book. And my internet and long-term telephone friend, Robert Morrow, believes the opposite. He and Roger Stone wrote the book, The Clintons' War on Women, and he has been swearing to me for 15 years that he's absolutely positive that Webb Hubbell is Chelsea's father. And I am as positive that she's not. But a lot of people go on that big lower lip that Webb Hubbell has and that Chelsea has, but I keep inviting people, go look at pictures of Hillary's mother, Dorothy Rodham, when she was that same age. Actually, Chelsea looks exactly like her. I mean, she's a spitting image of her. But Billy Clinton's own mother, Virginia, had the big lower lip, especially when she was that age. So I'm not taking the lower lip thing from Webb Hubbell as definitive. Now, the other thing that you were probably going to ask me was about Chelsea herself. And one night I was at the governor's mansion visiting with Billy, and he said to me in a rather tender moment, I want to have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, do you think that's a good idea? I mean, we're both married to somebody else. And he looked at me so strangely, and then he kind of laughed, and he said, oh, I didn't mean with you. Which, that's just such a flattering thing to hear. So I said, what are you thinking? What are you talking about? And he said, well, the warden and I need to have a baby so that we can appear to be a normal couple. And maybe it will take attention away from all the talk about her lifestyle.
And what lifestyle was that again?
He did not use the other L word. He just said lifestyle to me. But I said, so why are you even telling me this? And this is what's really weird, and this goes back to what a close relationship we had and how sort of strange it is too, but I'm going to go ahead and admit it. He said, well, we haven't been able to manage it. He says, because I have a low sperm count. And I said, well, it only takes one of those little swimmers to get there, you don't need millions, just one can do it. And he said, yeah, I know, but we've been trying and it's not working. I said, okay, so what do you want me to do? And he said, I want you to pray about it.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that's
Neither was I. But I said, I will. And I said, oh, and by the way, you still have to do your part.
Yeah.
And he sort of sighed and he said, I will. And here's the thing. Hillary got pregnant very shortly after that. So
you got some power then, don't you?
Well, I'm not saying that I have some power. I'm just saying it's an interesting coincidence, and it kind of takes Webb Hubbell out of the picture for me. The other thing, too, is that people say that she had sex with Webb Hubbell. Hillary had sex with Webb Hubbell so that she could make partner at the Rose Law Firm. Well, she made partner at the Rose Law Firm for the same reason that she was the first woman associate at the law firm, and that was because of her coattail riding with Billy Clinton. When he became Attorney General, she became the first female associate at the Rose Law Firm, and when he became governor, she became the first female partner. And I'm sorry, she didn't need to have sex with Webb Hubbell, Vince Foster, or anyone else. All she had to do was be Billy Clinton's wife.
Hey, Dolly, quick thing. Would you characterize it this way, that the Clintons had Chelsea for virtually political gain? Do you think that's a fair statement from what you know?
There is no doubt in my mind that was the plan. But then, as I talk about in the book, when little Chelsea was born, Billy Clinton fell head over heels in love with that baby girl. He really, really did. He was in awe of the fact that he had a baby. I don't know how you all feel about that. Some men are a little bit blasé about it, but he was just gaga over this child. He really, truly was. Hillary, not so much.
Didn't you say that Hillary has also had a history of shredding and deleting things that started all the way back when Chelsea was a toddler?
Before that. It started before that. In 1974, when Billy was running for Congress, he was also dating Marla Kreider, who was a junior at the University of Arkansas. And Marla went to work as a volunteer in his campaign, and they soon began a sexual, romantic relationship. And I think she really thought that she would end up being his wife. Marla was a lovely, lovely woman. And I talk about this in the book, but in this world that's Arkansas and full of coincidences, ultimately, years later, Marla ended up dating my ex-husband and becoming very good friends with one of my daughters. And that's how I got all the Marla stories, because Marla knew I had this relationship with Billy, and so she talked about hers. Well, what happened, you know how when you're dating somebody, or, well, Cam knows, surely, you guys probably have done this too, where you send these silly little cards and letters and notes and cutesy stuff and whatever, and Marla and Billy had exchanged some things like that. Hillary heard about Marla from somebody and came from Washington, went to Fayetteville, went through Billy's things, found these notes from Marla, shredded them, started threatening Marla, calling her in the middle of the night and all this kind of stuff, and ran her off. That was the beginning, as far as I know, of the Hillary Scissorhands movement.
Didn't he write you some notes too? He would like put little bitty notes on letterhead that came from the governor's mansion in Arkansas.
Oh, I have handwritten letters from him. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, some that were typed by him, and not by him. I mean, some that were typed by his secretary, and then he would add a handwritten couple of paragraphs below that. The reason I mention this, well, you asked, but they are appended to my deposition in the Paula Jones case, so some of that is available online for people to see. I just have to say, during that deposition, and I'm coming back to all the other stuff, but during that deposition, Billy's lawyers said they wanted me to give them the original letters. And they said, we'll make a copy for you. I said, you got that backwards, bub. So I still have the originals. And no, listen, everyone, they are not at my house. They are not anywhere around here. Do not come looking. Okay.
Dolly, let me take this on a different direction quick, just because there's.
But I didn't get to tell about Chelsea and the rest of the records. But go ahead.
Go ahead and do that.
Okay. When Chelsea was 3 or 4 years old, they put her in the Montessori school, which is a private school. And then afterward, they decided that they should put her in public school because that would look better since he was a public official. And Hillary went to the school and had the little child's records destroyed, had her pictures destroyed and all that, so that they couldn't prove that she had actually gone to a private school.
That's horrible the way they do that.
Isn't that ridiculous? And then when they left the governor's mansion, of course, she had all the visitors' logs shredded so that my visits, any other women who visited there, all the visitors' logs were destroyed. And the last morning they were there, one of Billy's paramours showed up to say goodbye to him, and that was probably the last one that was in the records, but that got shredded by Hillary Scissorhands too.
Now let's go on a different subject. If you recall, when Bill Clinton was first running for president, there were calls for his health records and his medical records and everything. And we look at him now, and he looks just like a shell of the man that he was. There were rumors and innuendos back in the 90s that one of the reasons that his health records, that they didn't want to disclose them, was because of cocaine use and maybe septum damage to his nose and things like that. Do you have any knowledge of him or Hillary actually abusing drugs or alcohol or anything of that nature?
Well, again, I did put this in the book, what I know, and what I know about that is not firsthand. It is hearsay, and again, when I have something like that, I say, I don't know this for a fact, but here's the thing, I've talked to people who do know, because honestly, it is a very small state. I mean, we all know what's going on. And I listed some of the things in there, and in chapter 46, I've got 12 pages, single space of, I think it's single space, maybe double, anyway, of the Clinton scandals, and some of the doctors, Hillary threatened some doctors about Billy's cocaine issue and said that if they breathed a word of it, they'd never practice in Arkansas. That came on very good hearsay. Okay? It won't stand up in a court of law, but I pretty picky about what I believe. I have this little BS detector that goes off, and I know when something's true and when it isn't.
What do you think about his current health? I mean, you've seen him on television and things like that. He looks like he's 90
terrible.
years old.
Well, in fact, I see him in Little Rock from time to time because as I'm 68 and he will be 70, a lot of our friends are dying, and I've seen him more at funerals than anything else over the past couple of years. We do both go to our high school reunion, which has been awkward ever since the one that
Hey, I was about to ask you, Dolly, have you gotten an invitation yet? Any invitations yet? Because that's what you were waiting on last time, to see if anyone was going to invite you to any parties or reunions. Have you gotten anything yet since we last had you on?
The reunions are open to the entire class. We have them every 5 years, and everyone goes to that. And I did go into some detail about the reunions, which was kind of fun and interesting. I don't think it's going to be that great for a radio audience because it's kind of a long story, but it's actually worth the read. But anyway, Billy and I see each other at things like that, but we don't speak. I don't have anything to say to him that I wouldn't get grabbed by a Secret Service agent for.
Well, I tell you what, we're getting ready to open up the phone lines.
Wonderful.
For those that are out there listening, for those that are watching, the number is at the bottom of your screen, 202-470-6738. Dolly says that she will answer your questions. So make sure that it's short and sweet. And we are going to accept your phone calls starting now. So 202-470-6738. 202.
Oh, I don't even care if they're short and nasty, because, I'm used to Hillary.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. 202-470-6738. Call in to talk to Miss Dolly Kyle. Again, she has more firsthand experience with Billy and Hillary Clinton than probably anybody that you have listened to. So 202-470-6738. I think most people were just sitting back just listening. Because there we go.
I have a question. Oh, he got a caller on the line.
Hey, Christopher.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing? What do you want to ask? What do you want to ask Miss Kyle?
Have you ever been threatened by Hillary?
I was told in 1992 that if I cooperated with the media, well, the words were, if you cooperate with the media, we will destroy you. And what I found out later was that these articles that had been planted in national magazines about me originated with Hillary through the little sniveling sycophant Sidney Blumenthal, whom everyone has heard of by now, and I didn't realize this. The first one was an article, a completely made up out of whole cloth lion dog article about me in the New Yorker, which then I found out Sidney Blumenthal is big buds with Jane Mayer, who supposedly wrote the article. And then somebody at the Washington Post heard about it, and they wanted to run a story on what was the truth about it, but then they dropped it, and I found out that Jane Mayer was married to the editor of the Washington Post. So it's all real homey, cozy up there, too, I guess. But anyway, the way that they went about trying to destroy me was my reputation and who I am. And so this is one of the reasons that I put in the book everything. All my dirty laundry is there, not in a provocative or salacious way, but simply the facts, people. So there is no blackmail available on me because I laid it all out there. For example, I was a sex addict. And when I figured that out, and it was in therapy, I traced it back when I was 16 years old, a 16-year-old virgin getting ready to go off to college. August 1st, 1964, I was drugged and raped by one of Billy Clinton's friends. And there is a whole chapter in my book. It's called the sex chapter, which is supposed to get people all titillated and go look at it, but it's not it's not what you think at all. But it is about the consequences of rape and sexual abuse and the things that happen to at least 1 out of 5 women in this country. And I have to tell you something that just made me, it almost made me cry at the time. I don't do very much public speaking where, there's people around who can throw things at me and shoot and all that. But I did give this speech to a bunch of women at a local country club. And I said, in talking about this sex abuse issue, I said, statistically speaking, 2 of you at every table in this room have either been raped or sexually assaulted. And it almost brings tears to my eyes when I think about it. There was a little lady in the table right up near the front. She must have been 90 years old. Mm-hmm. And she put her chin down to her chest, and she raised her hand. Mm. It just broke my heart. I thought, I bet you that woman has been carrying that for 70 years.
A long time, right? Wow. Right. We have another call, Dolly.
Okay.
Tiger fan from the Right Side Broadcasting Network. What's up, Tiger?
Hey, good evening. Yes, I wanted to ask Dolly if something's true or not that I've been reading. I've read what some of the bodyguards that have worked for the Clintons have said about Hillary really having a foul mouth, and in fact being a racist herself and using terrible terms against blacks and Jewish people. And I just want to know if that's true or not.
It is absolutely true, and every single thing that I have heard about Hillary that's bad is true. And there's a lot of things that haven't even come out yet. But the fact of the matter is, Billy talked about her foul mouth, and there were witnesses when she called Billy's campaign manager an effing Jew bastard. Several people heard that. That's been going around for years. But you see, Hillary had more prejudice against Jews than she did against the N-word people in the South because she was from Chicago. It was a different, the different neighborhood, a different kind of prejudice. And Billy was more toward, he actually called some particular black guys he didn't like the G-D N-word, but most of them were just the lowercase n.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
When you told me that, I was shocked because I had been a supporter of his for a long time, and when I heard that he had said that was like a slap. That was like a slap in my face.
Well,
just because he got mad at it.
And I tried to put it in context. I'm not trying to excuse it.
What I
was saying was that people who grew up in the South in the 1950s used the N-word without any mean intent. It was just a descriptive term. I swear to you, it was not meant negatively unless it was said in the context. You know how you can be like if your mom calls you Wayne or Wayne Edward Anthony Dupree. You can tell the difference about what somebody means by the way they intone it. And so it was not so much that, but it was the way it was. But I told Billy, you're the governor now. You just shouldn't say that anymore. You just shouldn't say it. You get out of that habit.
We also have another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Sparkles from North Dakota.
Hi, how are you, Sparkles?
Sparkles, love it.
Hi. I'm from Right Side Broadcasting, and I'm the Maine Coon cat picture in the room. If you see that, Wayne.
All right, dear.
Yeah, Dolly, I wanted to first tell you that I'm so sorry to hear about the rape. I'm very familiar with that in my family. Mm-hmm. I also am really upset that it is true about Bill being a pedophile.
Oh, God, yes.
That's even not, if anything could be worse, that's really bad. My question is, since I've been on Right Side Broadcasting, people talk about Hillary being a Satanist and that they've seen her wearing an upside-down cross. And I was wondering what your thinking on that is.
No clue. I absolutely have no clue. I have never heard anyone, and I've never heard anyone whom I would believe as first-degree hearsay say that. So I can't address that. I'm sorry. And that's one thing all the way through my book I talk about. If I don't know something, I will tell you I don't know. Or if it's first-degree hearsay, that I have no idea about that. I've heard it. It sounds pretty bad, except, have you ever noticed if you look at a video of Hillary and you turn off the sound, which I kind of have to do because I can't stand it, but if you turn off the sound, you can see hate coming out of her eyes. And I just wonder if somebody didn't start the Satanist thing by saying, she looks like Satan or she acts like Satan or something like that. I don't know of anything to corroborate that, so I'm sorry I can't answer it.
I believe she's a shepherd for the devil, but that's another.
Yeah, but she just said the other day, I cannot believe that Donald Trump would question my faith.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, okay.
Well, I do know that one time when they had just moved to Washington, now the story is, and it was pretty good, I was second-degree hearsay, okay, but that they came out of church and she was mad at Billy about something and hit him on the head with a Bible. So, I guess that's what makes her a Bible thumper, right?
Carla.
I guess so.
Carla, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Carmen from Indianapolis.
Hi, Carmen.
I would just like to know, did you ever have an opportunity to meet formally or informally with any of his other liaisons?
Recently, that Republican women's thing that I went to, I met Paula Jones, whom I had not ever met before. And about, 6 weeks or so ago, I got a tweet from Juanita Broderick. And Juanita and I have become great friends over the phone. I have such respect for her. For those who don't remember who she is, Juanita Broderick was a nurse, and she owned a nursing home. And she was a Democrat and a supporter of Billy Clinton. And in 1978, when she was helping him with his campaign for governor, he was Attorney General at the time, they were going to meet at the hotel, and he said that the coffee shop was all full of people, and could he just come to her room? And she said, well, sure. I mean, it sounds innocent enough. And he went up to her room, and he raped her. And she kept that quiet for years, and then her friends knew it. A couple of people knew about it, and so when the investigators were getting their case ready for the Paula Jones lawsuit against Billy, they discovered Juanita, and she ended up doing an interview with Lisa Myers of NBC.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find that or parts of it on YouTube now. It had disappeared for quite a while. But if anyone could watch that video and not believe Juanita Broderick had been raped by Billy Clinton, then they got, they're 3 cards short of a deck.
Right.
And there is no doubt in my mind. And when Juanita sent me the tweet, and then we started tweeting, and then we agreed to talk, the first thing I said to her was that I said, Juanita, I am so glad to finally talk to you. I have to tell you that when I heard about you were raped by Billy, I felt somehow guilty and ashamed because I was with him during those years, and I had no idea. But it has made me sick to know about it because I knew what happened to me. And she was so sweet. She is a real class act, I'll tell you that. Yeah. And she said, oh, Dolly, you have nothing to feel guilty about. I said, I know. Intellectually, I don't. But that doesn't,
right.
intellectually doesn't override what you feel in your gut. And it just made me sick.
We have another Carla on the line. Carla, what's your name? Where are you calling from? 281?
Hello.
Caller?
Yes. I'm here.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Jeff. I'm calling from Houston.
All right, Jeff. What question do you have for Dolly tonight?
I'm wondering if Miss Kyle had ever been to one of the Clinton parties where some of the Chinese agents, Johnny Chung and Charlie Tree and the Mokhtar Ratty brothers, were there.
That was Mokhtar Riadi and his son, James Riadi.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to admit this. I am not a maniac for getting people's names like Billy is. I bet he knows more people by name than anyone on the planet. I don't. So I could have been at parties with whole bunches of these people and just not paid any attention to who they were. I'm sorry. Just like the troopers, you know, I know Buddy Young. I don't know how many of the others I knew, like, oh, this was Dan or this was Mike or something, and I might have known that at some point, but nothing that stuck with me. Nothing that stuck with me. I'm sorry.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
By the way, I called you guys before. Guten Morgen from Germany. By the way, notice some people are going with the questions about my name is Johan. So let's just keep it straight. Dolly, I really want to give you props up for what you're doing. It takes a lot of courage to be able to come out and give the full testimony. What's really going on with the Clinton families, which has been known for quite some time. And, you know, keep a good job, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you have a question or?
Oh, I let him go.
I'm happy to take that. Thank you very much. And I have to say this, that I went through a lot of very painful, excruciatingly painful 3 years of therapy. And I can say on national radio or television now what I could not look in the mirror and whisper to myself 30 years ago.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Wayne Dupree Show here on Saturday night. We have Dolly Kyle, author, with us right now. She's taking your phone calls, 202-470-6738, 202-470-6738. Carla, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I can't believe I got disconnected. There's no love in the room. What is going on?
That was an accident.
No, I'm sorry.
Gutenberg.
There's miscommunication here. By the way, you know, it's funny when I'm looking at it, you know, people saying I'm not speaking German, you know. I mean, I just write an idea, but that's okay. Anyway, Dolly, listen, what I want to say before I got disconnected and rudely, by the way, is
okay.
Keep a good job, okay? Because going against the Clinton machinery is something interesting. It's even more than that. It's actually what you're doing is exposing the typical lies that these people have been living on. And liar is liar. So always like the pants on fire kind of way of saying, or you know, something kind of like that. But it's quite comical, even though you know it's serious notice, Dolly. You know, in the beginning, my friends over here in Berlin were saying that, is that the Dolly with the big mullet? And I said, I don't know. I mean, Dolly, you know, she's
I'm sorry. Wait. Slow down. I missed that last. What did you say?
Dolly with the big donuts.
The what?
Big donuts, big boobies.
Cojones.
Well, you guys call it different name. I know you try to be civilized over here, you know.
No, I really couldn't understand you. I'm sorry. And so, what is the question?
The question is, how long is it going to take for people to realize what the hell is going on with the Clintons?
Thank you, Johan.
One of our more robust callers.
I wish I knew how long it's going to take. I mean, I'm doing what I can do, but I will tell you this. I know people who are very close to me who are yellow dog Democrats and won't listen to a word of negativity about Hillary, even though I know it to be true. And I have an amazing reputation in the legal community for truth and veracity. I absolutely do. And I would invite anyone who wonders about that, go to Amazon and you can go to the book Hillary, the Other Woman, and there's a little thing where you can click on Look Inside, and go in there and look at the foreword to my book that was written by Dave Shippers, who was the chief investigative counsel for the Clinton impeachment. After all of the investigations that they did, all of the FBI work and everything else, I was the one person who was going to be their main witness, because I had never, ever been caught in a lie, nor did I tell one. It wasn't just about being caught. And I had truth, and I had proof, and I had proof in Billy's own handwriting of his perjury, suborning perjury, witness tampering, obstruction of justice, that had nothing at all to do with Monica Lewinsky.
We have another caller on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is T. Moody, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
What's up, T. Moody from South Carolina? What do you
love that?
What do you have to say to Miss Kyle?
Oh man, this is just going to be a kind of a light question, I guess. So, Dolly, I do appreciate what you're doing, speaking out like that. That does take guts. Did Bill ever play? My mind's thinking about the chapter you were saying, the sex chapter. About to say sex. Did Bill Clinton ever play the saxophone for you?
Billy Clinton was first chair sax in the band in high
Yeah, I know. He's a great, if anything, I've seen him on Arsenio Hall back when he was
I do not.
campaigning.
I have written 3 semi-autobiographical novels, which are not to be confused with this true story. And I do not there or anywhere talk about particulars of my liaisons with Billy. Sally Miller has done that, and I'm sure that's why you brought up the question, but that's not the way I work.
Thank
you. No, I don't even know who you just mentioned. I don't even know who that is. But I just
really?
knew. Yeah, I just know that because I was watching when Bill Clinton was campaigning. He was on Arsenio Hall.
Oh yeah, right.
Late night shows, and he was playing saxophone with sunglasses on. I was like, man, this guy's really good.
Okay, I thought you were. I thought you were referencing Sally Miller's articles. She was a former Miss Arkansas who had an affair with Billy, blah, blah, blah. And she's kind of taken the low road on her story. So I don't do that.
I see.
All right, thank you, T. Miller.
Okay, thank you.
Right, okay.
Uh-huh.
And then we have, I think this is Kelly from St. Louis.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Kelly, what type of question you have for Miss Kyle?
Well, 2. 1, I've been listening to Larry Nichols, and Larry Nichols was one of the guys that was saying that Webb Hubbell was Chelsea's dad. He also mentioned, since he was one of the guys that got all of the women to come out about Bill Clinton, one of the women, Larry Nichols claims, said that Bill was sterile because he had measles as a child, which brings us this other question about the biracial son. That's the first thing. The other one was if she knew anything about the Oklahoma bombing. When the bombing happened, allegedly there were a lot of file cabinets being removed from the back. And this is coming from a guy named Craig Roberts, who wrote a book called The Medusa File. He was the leading investigator on the Oklahoma bombing. So he witnessed these file cabinets being removed from the back, which he found to be suspicious. Catherine Austin Fitz, who worked for Reagan in the housing department, was doing a talk about the secret space program and black budgeting. She had mentioned that they were about to take the Clintons to trial. I don't know, I think it had to do with Iran, Contra, and Nina. The paperwork was in the Edward Murrow building, and they were literally going to trial like in 2 days, and then the building just happened to blow up. So I didn't know if she knew anything about that, because this guy that wrote the book...
I don't know any more about it than you do, and from the same sources that you know, I do know that one of the 3 co-conspirators went into the witness protection program. I don't know what he knew. I don't know. I don't know how thorough these things are investigated before someone's turned loose in the witness protection program. So, I know what you know, and I don't know any more than that. I do know there's a lot of coincidences, like the poor guy who, John Ash of the United Nations, who was going to testify, and someone said to me, well, did he have a heart attack or was he crushed, the barbell crushed his throat? I said, I don't know. Maybe he realized the barbell was going to hit his throat and he had a heart attack thinking about it.
I mean, it happens all the time, barbell.
Yeah,
You made me spit on myself, though.
You know what? It happens in a lot of TV shows. I've seen quite a few shows where they have something like that, where they murder someone. So who knows? I mean, there's more stuff that will not ever be known, I'm afraid. I want to go back to the thing about the sperm count. Okay, I've always found this to be amusing, that Billy would tell women that he had no sperm because of this mumps thing when he was a kid, which was his excuse for not using a condom. And so if anyone thinks that Billy Clinton would stoop to lying, then you wouldn't have any trouble believing this, right? Because that's what it was. It was a lie. He told me in no uncertain terms that he was concerned, as I said a little earlier, about a low sperm count, which is when I said it only takes one. Now, about Danny Williams, I have a couple of things to say. One is, one of the times that Billy got the most angry was when Say McIntosh, who was a black activist in Little Rock, accused Billy of fathering this child with a black prostitute, that Billy was running with 3 black prostitutes at the time. And this boy, Danny Williams, was born. Okay, now, a news person or someone asked Billy, I think he was in Chicago at the time, do you have a black baby? And he said no. Okay, well, duh. Of course he doesn't have a black baby. He isn't black. But did they ask the follow-up question? Okay, did you father a child with a black prostitute so that you have a half-black, half-white child?
What's the meaning of father?
People didn't follow up. They don't ask those questions. Now, here's my question. And I don't care anything about the rumors about the DNA tests, because they were, who knows? You know how these stories get turned around by the media? It's pitiful. But here's my question. How did a black street-walking prostitute, now I'm not talking about a high-priced call girl for, these people who come in to town and stay at the nice hotels and all that. I'm talking about black street-walking prostitute. How did she take her baby and emigrate to Australia? Can someone tell me that? Because I have a friend who 5 years ago was in love with a guy from Australia, and she couldn't even get over there with her money and connections, because Australia doesn't just take people in, and if y'all have noticed, there's a big Rio Grande running around it. You just can't get there by swimming.
That's a fact. Yeah, I'll tell you, Dolly, I'm watching this chat room. It's going 50 miles an hour, and some of the people in there want to know how many people Billy had affairs with. And then Wilt Chamberlain's thing came to mind.
Oh, yeah. Well, Billy and I were talking one time, and this was after he had admitted to me he was a sex addict. We had that conversation in the nicest way, because I was trying to tell him, look, I discovered this about myself, and then I asked him these questions about the sex addict thing, and he realized he was a sex addict. But anyway, one time we were talking about Wilt Chamberlain, who's the basketball player, who said he'd had sex with 20,000 women. And Billy said, wow, that's 10 times more than I've had. So, people...
There we go.
Do the math. That was, 30 years ago. What, 20 years ago? Time flies when you're having this much fun, I got to tell you. But it was a long time ago. And he's had a few more since then. The other thing I want to say is that when I hear people say something about all the women Billy had, and they're thinking about the dozen or 20 or so whose names they've heard, you cannot generalize about the women, because there probably are 2,000. And they're old, and they're young, and they're black, and they're white, and they're Hispanic, and they're pretty, and they're ugly, and they are everything. Because here's the deal. An addict does not get real picky about their fix, okay?
Right.
They just don't get real picky about it. They might have their preferences, but it didn't matter to him.
The consensus right now, I'm looking in the chat room too, and I don't know if this person is in Congress, but they think Bill might have the drip. New York offers the STD testing and treatment, but mostly what I'm seeing, the question is, and I didn't know whether I wanted to ask you this or not, but the question has been like up and down in the chat room. Do you think he has AIDS?
Well, obviously, I do not know. However, there's a couple of things about the Clintons, both of them, and that is that they always have to come up with a story to cover everything.
Always.
It is quite possible that several years back, Billy, quite possible, understand I'm not saying I know this,
Right.
possible, that Billy found out he had something terribly wrong with him, so then he went on this vegan diet
Yeah, I remember watching that, right?
so that he would have an excuse for looking like he hasn't had enough lasagna lately.
He gave up lasagna and fried chicken and all that. Yeah, I remember.
Now, I'm saying he gave up the, double cheeseburgers and fries.
Right.
I don't know why. He does look terrible.
Sickly. Like death sickly.
Yeah. I mean, if the last time I saw him, if someone had told me the next day they just put him in hospice, I would not have been surprised.
Right. 202, ladies and gentlemen, 202-470-6738. We only can take a couple more phone calls before we let Miss Kyle go.
I thought you knew you were supposed to call me Dolly.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, Dolly.
Okay,
I get in trouble for saying yes, sir. Hey, Dolly, I get in trouble for saying yes, sir. I don't think he understands why we say that.
You can say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am to somebody who's 10 years old. That's okay. but I am Dolly. I got to tell you something funny, and this is apropos of nothing. But the day I turned 65, and I did not tell anyone it was my birthday or anything like that, all of a sudden that day, when I went to Kroger, when I went to the gas station, everywhere I went, the post office, people started saying ma'am. It's like I'd never been ma'am, and all of a sudden I'm 65. That very day I'm ma'am. I don't get that.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I did not have a sign.
That's not why I called you, ma'am.
The first time that I got called sir by a kid in middle school. Excuse me, sir. I was like, whoa, that's
the way it's done here, and my grandsons would not think of anything else but yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, thank you. Absolutely open. And when I get ready, I can tell this: when I get ready to leave my daughter's house, my grandsons are 10 and 13. They will jump up, get my car keys, walk out, open the car door for me. And the last time I was over there, the bigger boys were gone, and my little one, who just turned 3, went in and got my purse and handed it to me for me to pull the keys out. And I handed him the keys, and he walked me to the car.
That's good parenting right there.
Oh.
Isn't it? Isn't it great?
We got another caller on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Summer from the RSBN chat room.
Hi, Summer.
Hi, I just wanted to ask Dolly. Hillary looks so fake to me when she's hugging people on stage. Is she faking?
Yeah, she's faking. And I'll say this. I believe, from what I know about sex addiction and the problems that I had and the therapy that I went through, I believe that Hillary was sexually abused by a woman. I believe that Hillary was sexually abused by a man. I think Hillary hates everyone, starting with herself. And she tries to be warm and fuzzy, but she just can't pull it off.
She looked like somebody sexually abused by something. I'm
not saying that to be unkind. I'm saying that as a point of trying to understand, because I have seen people like this, and I do talk about this in the sex chapter, and I encourage anyone. Sometimes people have managed to deny and repress these things for decades, and as long as you're doing that, you're like a volcano that could go off at any moment, and it takes so much psychic, emotional, spiritual, physical energy to be in denial about something. And I just really encourage people to look at that. I mean, you don't have to buy my book, but look it up and find out, and you can get healing. You know, you can be healed. It's not easy, but it wasn't easy getting raped either.
We have another caller on the line, Alice from Seattle, I think.
Yep, Seattle for Trump. Hi, Dolly.
Hi.
And my question is, you know, Hillary just seems so ill, and she coughs all the time. Do you think that's a tick?
I don't know what the cough is. Now that it's back again, I'm really wondering. We had something going around in Little Rock, and of course she wouldn't be in Little Rock. She can't stand Arkansas or anyone here. But we had a thing that the doctors at UAMS were calling the 90-day cough. They didn't know what it was. So we actually, several people in my family had it, and I thought for a while it might have been that, but I think this has been going on for, 2 years? Yeah. So I don't know what it is with her cough. What I do talk about in chapter 50 of my book is that although Hillary's been a pathological liar for decades, and she believes her own stories, that's why they sound true when she says them, I believe now that she is increasingly cognitively impaired.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, it really, and she's only 6 months older than I am, but, you know, there's a lady in my Sunday school class who has just full-on Alzheimer's right now, doesn't know who she is, what her name is, and can't talk, and she's not even that old. I'm not suggesting Hillary has Alzheimer's, but I am suggesting something is wrong with her mentally. And I pulled up the symptoms for cognitive impairment from the website of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and I listed some of these symptoms in my book, and then, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, the actions of Hillary that show that she has this. Now, the other piece of that, she, under oath, has said in the last couple of years, 250 times under oath, she said, I don't remember. Now, we have a choice here. For 250 times, I don't remember, either she's lying, I know that's hard to believe, but either she's lying or she really is cognitively impaired and she's lost her memory. But she doesn't get a third choice. It's one or the other.
Right.
She's lying or she's cognitively impaired. And frankly, I don't want either of those symptoms in my Oval Office.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dolly has a book out, Hillary, the Other Woman. Dolly, where can people purchase this book?
Okay, I'm glad you asked. It's on Amazon. Do not pay any attention to anything Amazon says about whether it's out of stock or it's going to take 6 months to ship it. They change that almost every day, and don't even, I'm so annoyed. I also should have a #1 sticker on my book because it went to #1 on Amazon. It has been over a month, and that designation that's supposed to come up automatically is still not there, and my publisher's working on it. So you can buy it at Amazon. It is available, and you can do that. You get a Kindle version or a hardcover. And you can get it from WND Books, which is like WorldNet Daily, WND Books. And that is the only place you can get a signed copy. And it's also available at Barnes & Noble, online, and in the stores. I don't know, every store. And Goodreads, or no, that's it. Books A Million. So there's a lot of places you can get it. The main thing is get it and read it. And I'm not just trying to sell books here. What I'm trying to do is pass this information around. So if you're listening and you would really like to have the book, but you cannot afford $9.99 to buy this Kindle book, then contact me through my website, which is just dollykyle.com, and you ask me, and I will send you the money to buy the book, okay?
Wow.
Because everyone needs to read this book.
Dolly, if I buy the book at the bookstore and bring it down to the Republican convention, will you sign it for me there?
If you say pretty please and buy my lunch.
Pretty please, and you got lunch. Steak and potatoes right at McDonald's.
I wanted to ask you something because I know some people are going to think of questions after. I got a few actually, but we have seen, you see tweets online how so many people that have been around the Clintons disappear. You did write in your book
that just from the very early stages of Bill and Hillary, I think maybe before they were even married, you said that Hillary Clinton had her father and her brother actually start watching Bill Clinton. So it looks like she has people, she's been watching and threatening people basically her whole life.
Well, since 1974 that I know of for sure, because of what Marla told me, and Marla is, that's really good hearsay. Marla, I just have to say, she died of breast cancer in November of 2014. She had never married. She was just a lovely, lovely, wonderful person, and I just a moment thinking about her. But there are a lot of people in the Clintons' path who are dead. From unusual circumstances. But I want to say this about that death list. Half of it's baloney. And one of the things that the Clintons do, and this is in Chapter 50, I list the 17 truth suppression techniques, which I got from Dave Martin, D.C. Dave Martin in Washington, D.C. Great guy, and he's written these things in. These are the ways that the Clintons keep people quiet. And the death list is one of them. The death list was put on Monica Lewinsky's desk. It was put on Linda Tripp's chair to scare them. I think the Clintons themselves have probably added names to this death list for a couple of reasons. One is it does scare people. And two, if someone brings up a question about any of the 35 or 40 people on there that are bogus, this is their deal where they set up straw men and then knock them down, and they say, oh, no, this was this was that, this was something else, blah, blah, blah. And then you start getting the impression that the entire death list is baloney. But there's some real good meat in that death list, I hate to tell you.
Dolly, how can people reach out to you on social media?
I am now on Twitter. And that's my favorite thing because it's short and sarcastic, and I wanted to be like that from the first grade, but Sister Mary Joanna wouldn't let me. And so now I get to do it. So my favorite thing is Twitter, where I am that little @ symbol, and then it's @Dolly Kyle Writer. And that's really my preferred thing. Or people can send me an email. You can go to my website, again, it's dollykyle.com. So if you can remember my name, you can go there, and you know how it is on websites where there's a thing at the bottom of each page that says contact us. So you can do that. And, I am happy. Let me say this, too. If any woman has an issue about sex addiction or rape or whatever like that they'd like to talk to me about a little bit, I would really be happy to talk to you because I've been through this. I know about it. I know how to get you some help. So please feel free to do that. I'm not out here just to, certainly I'm not out here just to sell books. I want to get this message out, and I want to help as many people as I can in as many ways as I can. And I'm gonna say one thing. One of the reasons that I am so comfortable in the Black and Hispanic communities is that for 10 years in Dallas, I ran a program actually that I started called Lawyers for Affordable Housing. I worked in the community helping people with housing issues, real estate. I was a real estate lawyer, and I did this, and I had 350 volunteer lawyers who worked with me. I had every single real estate lawyer who was in the African American Bar Association as a volunteer. I had every single Hispanic real estate lawyer as a volunteer for my group. And I am very, very proud of the work that we did there and that work continues. It affected tens of thousands of housing units. And I know that Hillary wants to talk about what she's done for minorities. Well, I'll tell you what she's done for minorities. She has duped them into thinking they should vote for her.
Right.
And it's just downright pitiful. I would love to have the opportunity to speak to every Black church and Hispanic church in this country, because these people are continually duped. How many Blacks and Hispanics know about the racial discrimination lawsuits that were filed against Billy when he was governor?
Right.
Not many. And they were federal lawsuits, and Billy lost them. And I'm sorry, 2 for the price of 1. We've getting, Billy ran and said 2 for the price of 1. You get him, you get Hillary. It's the same thing now. If she wants to ride his coattails into the White House, she also needs to ride the racial discrimination lawsuits, the actual racial discrimination. And Hillary's a terrorist. She is a terrorist.
All right.
A terrorist is a person who achieves their political aims through threats, violence, and intimidation. She's been doing that for 40 years. Wake up, people, and tell your neighbors. And I tell you this, a lot of, and you guys probably know this is true, a lot of white people are afraid to talk to black people about the Clintons and about racial discrimination. It's a really uncomfortable topic. And I guess kind of like the sex addiction thing, it's not uncomfortable for me because I've been dealing with it for so long. But honestly, people need to talk and understand that we're dealing with flawed human beings. We're all flawed. And we can talk about this rationally. We do not have to yell at each other. We don't have to throw things. We don't have to pull out guns and knives. We can talk about this. And there's another thing I want to talk about, thinking about the churches. 25 million so-called Christians stayed home from the polls in 2012.
Yes, they did.
They were too righteous to vote for either of the people who were running for president.
Yep.
Well, let me just tell you what your righteous non-vote did. You put Barack Obama back in the White House for 4 more years. Mm-hmm. And if you sit home and you don't vote because Hillary's not good enough and Donald Trump's not good enough, we're going to get Hillary, and I will tell you, that is the worst of the 2 evils.
You hear that, Julio?
No, you didn't.
Cuidado! Julio, cuidado! Hillary no es la mujer que se parece.
Oh, man, there you go. There you go. Yeah. All right. S.A.?
Bato.
He just busted an essay.
Dolly, I think you're one of the best guests that we've.
We love you. We do. We love you.
Does that mean I get dessert?
Yep.
You get dessert with your meal we're buying you.
All right.
All right. So we'll see you in about another week or so at the GOP convention.
Absolutely.
Okay. So until then,
let me say this: I am going to be staying at an undisclosed location.
So are we.
So are we.
And I will not have any of Billy's handwritten letters with me.
We'll keep you safe, honey. You just give me a text and
There
I'll
we go.
make sure you're all right.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm good. I have Psalm 91, protection promises. I have Isaiah 54:17. No weapon forged against me shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against me shall fall to me. And it's happening.
And I have SR 45.
And I got AR 15.
About that because I may or may not be legal.
Well, look, Dolly, we thank you for spending Saturday night with us, and we're going to have you back on in a week or so. So we look forward to seeing you.
Because I still don't have any better options for Saturday night.
Oh, bless your heart. Oh.
That's okay.
No,
That's okay.
you guys are my favorites.
Thank you,
know
dear. Thank you so much.
And you are ours.
That's right. That's right.
Thanks.
So we'll be talking to you in a little bit, and you take care of yourself, okay?
Thank you very much. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Dolly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to roll up out of here. Yes, we are. That was Dolly Kyle. You can follow her on Twitter at Dolly Kyle. Is it at Dolly Kyle Writer or at Dolly Kyle?
At Dolly Kyle Writer. Yeah.
Okay. I've been messing up today then. At Dolly Kyle. We want to thank the people in the chat rooms on both ends here. Y'all have really done an amazing job. Thank you for the calls. Johan, thank you, man. Thank you for calling in again. You are awesome, Johan. Believe me, you're awesome. We're getting ready to roll up out of here. It's been a great week. We'll be back on Monday. And I think we, depending on what comes down next week, depending on what happens next week, I think We're getting ready to prepare for Cleveland, as a matter of fact. So we'll be back on Monday at noon and Monday evening. Okay, so make sure that you are around. Cam, how can people reach out to you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at Cam, KAMVTV.
And Hutch?
SteelCityResistance.blogspot.com. Hutch Bailey Jr. on Facebook. Berg's Eye View on Twitter. Love you guys.
Cole.
You can find me on Twitter at Cole McNeely and check out ColeMcNeely.com.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we are closing out another book, another week. We'll be back. We are your conservative alternative to the mainstream media. We don't have any strings. Nobody tells us what to talk about. We can say whatever we want to say. And we want to thank the producers at the Right Side Broadcasting Network. They are the people behind the magic. They are doing a great job there. You can follow me on Twitter at Wayne Dupree Show. You can check out my website, WayneDupree.com or NewsNinja2012.com. We hope that you have enjoyed the show. Let us know in the comment section. And thank you for getting us over 300 likes on YouTube, and also going over to my Spreaker side. We have also done a great job over there. There we go. 30, 33, 28, and 860. That's very good. That's very good for a Saturday night. All right.
864 even.
We are getting ready to roll out. God bless you. Everybody have a great night.